Thank you for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and Michael Miller. Our guest today is Kristen Bloom. You are the founder and president of the Refugee Assistance Alliance.
Correct.
Pretty fancy entity, so let's hear about it, Kristen.
All right. Refugee Assistance Alliance is a nonprofit. We are a grassroots organization started in 2017, and we train ordinary people like you and me to work with refugees who come to this country and need a little extra assistance.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
You train people.
Yes.
All right. So to figure out how to work with folks.
Yeah. So when they come here, they get official assistance from the government for 90.
That's our background music, folks. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
When they come to this country, they get 90 days of assistance through the government. And then after that, many people just still feel a little bit lost. You know, imagine if we dropped you in Afghanistan next week and said, okay, in 90 days, you're on your own. You might still be like, wait a minute, I have so many more questions. How do I get a driver's license in this country? Or, you know, where do I go to the doctor? And so we train ordinary people to work with our clients and help them.
So it's a segue between being a recent immigrant and being blended into society.
Yes.
90 days that's a pretty short period of time.
Pretty short period of time, especially if you don't speak English or Spanish. And so a lot of our clients are, you know, up against many barriers. And so it's not that these services don't exist in our community, but they don't know exactly how to reach them. And so
Kristen, why are you doing this?
I do it because we want refugees to feel welcome. This is their new home. They were forced to flee. Refugees are different from immigrants in that they didn't have a choice. One day they just had to pick up and leave everything that they knew behind, and they came here, and it's scary and overwhelming, and we want them to feel this is their new home and that they're welcome here, and we're happy to have them, and we want to work with them.
Most of us cannot fathom what that must be like.
No.
Right. And I know that being that we're in Miami, we're used to the stories of people that have come here and they get used to it. But when you get thrusted on it, and it's not necessarily that you've done it to avoid something, but you say, okay, here you are. Good luck.
Exactly.
We have programs where the young people are in programs, and at 18 they phase out.
Right.
And it's like, and what?
Right.
And what happens to them?
Right, exactly.
So how do you find the people to train them? And where does that group of people come from?
So it comes from the community, from Miami's community. We want people who are local, you know, to work with our families. We have social media, we hold events, and so we have people who come to us. Our clients are referred to us by a resettlement agency called Church World Service, and then we group the clients with the volunteers. The volunteers really become a lot like family to the clients because they are there to help them, you know. Everyone just needs a friend, somebody who they know that they can rely on and ask questions to, and so
the people that are coming over, many of them, this is the first time they've ever been to the United States.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about the languages that they speak, and how do you match them up?
Yeah, so originally our clients almost all spoke Arabic. In the beginning, we didn't have any clients that spoke Spanish, not because it's not hard to adjust here. It's hard no matter where you're from to adjust anywhere, but because there is an embedded community here, you know, you can do many things in Spanish. So in the beginning, a lot of our clients were non-Spanish speaking. Now we have a lot of Afghan clients. They speak Dari Pashto. You can't just walk into a store and find somebody who speaks that language, you know. But interestingly, a lot of our volunteers don't speak those languages, and so it's kind of finding those ways to communicate. We have, of course, technology and apps and things.
A lot of those people that come over have children.
Oh, yes.
So what is it like for your experience with them and the children?
In the beginning, of course, it's overwhelming for everybody. And then as time goes on, the kids, you know, they adapt so easily. Kids are so resilient. Their parents are resilient too. But of course, the parents have stressors just like you and I do that kids don't know about. And so the kids just love it. They're eating everything up. And the parents are trying to maintain some culture. And it's cute to see the dynamic. But unfortunately, a lot of the kids also end up taking on a lot of stressors and things that they shouldn't maybe be privy to because they do learn the language so fast that then they become interpreters for their parents. And so that's where we try to, you know, keep the kids out of those things because we want them to
they sort of like become the adult in that.
Yes, yeah.
So that you have to be acutely aware of that.
Oh, yes.
Miami is a pretty expensive place to live. Very expensive.
Very expensive.
So how do what is it that we do here so that they can afford to be here?
That is a great question. A lot of them work multiple jobs, and unfortunately, because of the housing crisis, a lot of them are leaving Miami, and so we're doing whatever we can to help them. We have a new program called the Employer Engagement Program. It's actually a year old. It's federally funded, and it's to work with employers who employ refugees and help them get on a track of career growth, because a lot of our clients will take an entry-level position, and there's not a lot of growth in that position. But in this program, we work with them to get work skill training, to get maybe they're taking English at their employer, so they can rise up and get a better job and be able to support themselves and stay, because we want them to stay here.
So again, I'm not sure if I heard, or you say why you're doing this.
Why am I doing this?
With all the things to do, you chose to do this.
The reason that I chose to do this is when I first moved to Miami, I was looking to get involved in some way, and I heard about something called a Syrian Supper Club, and they were recently arrived Syrian refugees had come and they cooked a meal. And so at the meal, everyone was saying, how can we help you? You know, you're here in our community. What can we do to help? And they said, we need help learning English. And so I have a background teaching English as a second language, so I volunteered to teach English. Well, I went to this family's house on the first day. The family had been in the U.S. already for 1 year, and when I got there, they had so many questions for me. I stayed at their house for 3 hours, and we never touched my English lesson. And when we left, I felt very overwhelmed for them. Like, if I hadn't come today, who are they saving all of these questions for? Who is going to help them? And I thought of myself as a military spouse. So my husband's in the Air Force. We have now moved, I think, 10 times in 19 years. So I don't have the trauma experience that our clients have been through, but I know a lot about starting over, and I know how hard it is to start over. But for me, I'm lucky because I always have a support network to tap into every place I go through the military community. And with these families, they didn't have anybody. And so I just thought if they could have somebody who they could ask questions to, who cared about them, who checked in on them, it would help make it so much easier.
Certainly Miami is the place for this. We have a picture in the back of the Freedom Tower,
yes,
where the Miami News was from 1925 to 1957. And when I go through the building, I look at that and I think of all the thousands of people that went through that building and how they came here with nothing. And in a relatively short period of time, it completely changed Miami.
Yes.
And what it must have been like for these little kids. And I've interviewed many of them, right, where they grew up. I mean, actually, some of the families split apart because they didn't want to be here in Miami. They went to other places. So we understand about trying to get along and new people coming in, to Miami. So tell us about the health care of these folks that don't have, right off the bat, any access to that. How do you get them in that system so if they're ill, they can get care?
Well, refugees come in as permanent residents, and so they are entitled to a lot of public benefits. And so our staff works with them to be sure that they are signed up for everything that they have access to. With the parents, it's a little bit more difficult, but of course all of the kids do. And then there are lots of free clinics. So that's, again, like I said, we train volunteers to help them find all of these different resources that are out there in the community, but they just don't necessarily know about.
So, Kristen, when they come to Miami, do they have a place they're staying? If they are here, they arrive, how do they usually arrive here?
They fly here.
They fly here,
mm-hmm.
And you meet them at the plane?
We don't meet them. Church World Service does. So okay. They're the ones who give them the first 90 days of assistance, and they'll help them find housing.
It's tough.
It's very, very, very tough.
So the biggest challenge is certainly the elation of moving here, right? And then all of a sudden, wait a second, where's that helping hand?
Yes, like some of our clients have said, we were forced to flee our homes. It was devastating. They literally have those stories where they're, walking across borders in the middle of the night, shushing their children because, they're risking their lives to leave. And then they ended up in another country. And I remember one of our clients said they were living somewhere, and she said, we couldn't work there. We weren't allowed to go to school, but we could speak the language. And she didn't realize what a benefit that was until they came here to the U.S. and thought, like, oh my gosh, we're going to Miami. This is amazing. And then she said, we got here and I didn't understand anything. And I felt like my life was just passing me by because I couldn't interact or talk to anybody.
I had the privilege of interviewing. At that point, the boy was probably 8 years old. He'd spent 2 weeks from the time he left his home, happened to be in Mexico, and traveled into the country.
Wow.
So I said, I know him.
Yeah.
And now he's an adult. So I have that conversation with him repeatedly. What was it like, you this big,
Right.
and walking for 2 weeks?
I can't
And the
imagine.
devastation that occurs in their brains, right? As far as what that's like. But we realize that people, when they come to Miami or anywhere from the country they're fleeing for whatever the reasons, and they start off with zero, they're driven to be successful. So tell us about some of those success stories.
Yeah, we have one of our clients actually is from Afghanistan, and she is one that you saw on the news jumping on those airplanes to leave Kabul when everything happened.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and
That was quite an event.
yeah, quite an event. So we have, as you can imagine, a large number of clients from Afghanistan, and this one, she came here without her parents. So her parents and her siblings are still back in Afghanistan, and she is here with her aunt. And when she got here, she didn't speak any English, and she was high school age, which is really difficult to go into high school not knowing the language, but she studied really hard. She was able to graduate on time with the other kids in her class, and then she just enrolled in college. So she was the first Afghan here to graduate from high school in the U.S. and then go on to college, and she's studying for her degree now.
And what a great success story.
Yeah.
So are you able to get some of those people that have been in the program, and as they're moving through their life, to go back and volunteer?
Yes, we have some. Actually, we've hired 2 of our former clients, which is amazing because, as you can imagine, when we meet our clients for the first time, they feel so overwhelmed, and it's easy to feel like it's never going to get better after everything that they've been through. So when they sit across the table from our staff members who are former clients, and they can say, "I promise you, it's going to get better. I was in your shoes. I've been there. I've done that."
It must be pretty rewarding for you and your team.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
And you have this big smile on your face in case people aren't looking.
Yeah, it's very rewarding to see. It's amazing to see so many people come together to welcome and help these families just, get on their own 2 feet. They're incredibly resilient. They've been through so much.
If there was something that you could impart on somebody that is really against people coming here, for whether they're fleeing or they just want a better life, what would you want to impart to them?
That nobody chooses to upend their life unless the things are really, really dire. And for refugees, they don't choose at all. They're forced to do this. And so I just ask people to think if that were themselves, if all of a sudden tomorrow bombs are going off and you had to leave everything you knew behind and go somewhere completely foreign, you would want somebody to reach out to you and extend a warm welcome to you too. It's just, we're at the end of the day, we're all humans, and that's a nature, we have to take care of one another.
So let's look down the road 3 to 5 years. Tell me about what this entity is going to look like.
I hope it's a lot bigger. I hope we're helping a lot more clients. We always have people on our wait list, and so we hope to expand to other parts of Florida to be able to help as many clients as we can, because, at the end of the day, everybody just needs a little step up, and then they're on their own, and then they're coming back and helping the next round.
Last year, we interviewed Susan Rachel, who was the volunteer president of NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness. Her son had an episode many years ago, who subsequently got his master's and is working in the arena. She said he wants to come here and he wants to sing a song.
Aww.
He took out his guitar and sat right next, over there, and the mom's sitting here. So he starts singing the song, "You Are Not Alone." Oh my God.
Is everyone crying?
I'm bawling.
Yes,
I'm holding the mother's hand. She's crying, and there's Matt just singing away. And of course, I'm imagining him on Biscayne Boulevard, no shoes, no shirt, all right? And I'm sure that happened more than once. But as soon as you hear that, "You are not alone," a hand on the shoulder,
yes.
Hello, you're welcome. It can change people's lives.
Yes, exactly. That's at the heart of our work. You're not alone. We're here to help you. We're here to walk alongside you as you get used to.
And if somebody wants to be able to reach you, what's your website address?
It's refugeeassistancealliance.org.
And people can reach you.
People.
All right? Yeah, there's email address there. There's phone number that's there.
Everything is there. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. Please reach out, connect. Give Miami Day is coming up. We're at Give Miami Day.
Would you like to, do you live in Miami?
Not anymore.
So, and why are you here now at this moment?
I come periodically to see our clients, for staff meetings, for
So maybe somebody
meetings.
in your office when they would like to come here with a client.
Yes, we
That's the
would
deal. It's got to
love
be
to
somebody
do that.
and a client.
We would love to do
And,
that.
so we can talk about it. So when people see this, they're going to say, "Look, I can relate to that."
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So all you need to do is arrange that with Chris over here.
I
or
will
with
for
David.
sure do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Thank
really
you.
making a difference.
Thank you.
Kristen, thank you so much for
I
being here.
appreciate it
And
so much.
terrific handshake. Again, folks, thank you for joining us. Remember, take care of yourselves and your family. Have a good day.